you feeling a bit battered by the current COVID situation? Maybe you're feeling your resilience is beginning to wane. It's been a long year, hasn't it? And perhaps the current lockdown situation makes you feel like, oh, here we go again. And you're kind of seriously worried about the health of your own private practice. I'm Dr. Cass Smith at Private Practice Ninja, and I get it. This year, in my own private practice, I've seen a big financial dent when the hospitals were closed. And let's face it, other stuff keeps going up in price. For example, my own medical indemnity has shot up, despite not making any claims. And patients who work in the city who would normally come and see me, for ease, because the locality was good for them, are now camped out in Surrey and Kent. So it's harder, isn't it, to get patients to come into clinic. So if you're feeling a little bit lost, a little bit overwhelmed, maybe you're missing family, maybe you're just fed up with the toil of it, then you're in good company. So let's talk about resilience. Without doubt, this has been one of the toughest times in private practice. And what makes it even more tough is that we're all going through this together. You've seen the memes on social. Maybe we're not in the same boat, but we're all weathering the same storm. It doesn't matter. It feels more crappy, doesn't it? Because it's happening to everyone. So we've kind of got two choices here. We can either A, run and hibernate from the rest of 2020 with good excuse, or we can say, no, I'm going to pull on the armour and do some stuff to make this situation better. But without being a kind of rose-tinted fool, how do we go about doing this when we actually really just feel like giving up? Let's look at how you can keep getting up and getting out even when you want to say, sod it. Number one, it first helps to remember that you've been in difficult situations before. Maybe you've been divorced, maybe you've been bereaved, maybe you've been sacked, maybe you've had to sack somebody, maybe you've had to sit some impossibly difficult exam with some terrible examiner who gave you a hard time, or maybe you've had to stand up to a bully at work. I know that you can do hard things. So I really want you to go away and reflect on this. Yeah, get a little bit kind of fluffy and woo-woo with it. Sit down with a book and actually write down the stuff, those challenges that you've overcome, and refer to it on a daily basis if you need to remind yourself that you're tougher than you think you are. Number two, focus on the short-term wins whilst keeping an eye on what you want for your practice in the long run. So what might this look like? Well, in my own practice, I need to work on diversifying where my patients are coming from. That means I need to attract patients who aren't on my doorstep in London. Patients who are going to come and get a second opinion who live in Solihull, for example. So in order to do that, I'm going to take some quick steps now, and I'm revamping my website and I'm making it so SEO fabulous, and I'm outwriting all the copy of my competitors so that when people go on Google looking for a second opinion about their groin pain, they might find me. So think about what you can do now for those quick wins that are going to help build to the target that's ahead. Number three, this is about mastering your diary and your priorities. So in order to make progress and feel better because we're taking action, you need to make consistent steps each day. To do that, you need to ring fence your time and stop letting other crap creep in. So number four is to have a process for this, and I really recommend this, be it digital or paper, probably paper is best, is to get yourself a diary or journal. And what I want you to do is at the end of each week, usually maybe a Sunday evening with a glass of wine, is to reflect on what's happened in the week, and crucially to plan in those key things that you need to get done by the end of the week. Now this sounds simple, but the majority of people don't actually do this. They don't actually sit down and plan it out. So for example, for me this week, I'm going to be getting my photos done for my website before lockdown happens on Thursday. I'm going to be writing about 6,000 words for key copy on my website pages. Plus, I'm going to get a flu jab because that needs to happen. And finally, I'm going to email out to all my patients to say clinic is still open. And I'm going to make sure that those things happen, but not all in one go. It's super, super helpful to have the discipline at the end of the day, each day of the week, to write down what it is you're going to do the next day. Now, this isn't just about remembering it the next day. It's one of those funny things that if you think about it, right, tomorrow I'm going to take this step, your brain kind of gets to work on it overnight. And it's almost a fait accompli when you get around to it. What you don't want to be doing is feeling the inertia and overwhelm, because it is an emotional roller coaster that we're on, and thinking, oh, I don't know what to do. So if you've already decided in advance and you've got your stuff together to do it, you know you can hit that goal. Number 5, don't let other people's agenda kibosh your goals. It's super easy when you're super nice to let other people's stuff take over. What happens is, you're busy in the middle of a task, you've got clinic on, you think, I'm just going to get that thing done, I'm going to email out to those people, and then somebody asks you to do a presentation because somebody else has dropped out, right? So unless it's super time critical to you, be selfish now, to you as the individual, write it in an area of your diary or journal that's a sort of holding pen, and you'll get around to it when it's right for you. Don't put other people's priorities before your own. Number 6, at the end of the week, in your diary, look back at those goals that you'd set yourself. Did you achieve them? Now, don't give yourself a hard time if it didn't happen, but ask yourself dispassionately, if they didn't happen, what happened? So did you allow someone else's needs to creep in, or was the goal that you'd set yourself kind of poorly set out? So it was difficult to define if you'd completed it, and there were no steps in there. And if you have achieved anything like what was on your list, give yourself a pretty big pat on the back. It's difficult to keep going at the moment. Most people, in my experience, are running and hiding, or they're just talking positive, which doesn't help. So it's far better to reflect on your little wins and say, yeah, I didn't do too bad. And finally, number 7, don't forget to ask for support and ask for help. We are in freaky times at the moment, and it's okay to be feeling, oh God, I'm just barely getting through the day, even though sort of back in April you would have been super robust, yeah? And if you're looking for a supportive network of people, if you're looking for the skills to be able to grow your private practice, you can take practical steps now and start feeling better. Why not consider joining the Private Practice Ninja Academy? I'm Dr. Kath, and I'll see you next time.